G'day, I'm Justin Porter, and today's date is the 20th of September 2025, and the title of my video is I'm glad I wasn't born in Jehovah's Witness. I was brought in. Now, to talk about my childhood, I had a great childhood, even though my mum died when I was 1 at the age of 30, and my dad died at the age of 38 when I was 8, back in the 1960s. Mum died in 1962, Dad died in 1969. But still, I had a wonderful childhood. I'll give you an example. 1972, when I was 11, I wanted to grow my hair long. Now, my grandparents raised me. When Mum died when I was 1 in 1962, my grandparents raised me, and both my mum's mum and dad were born in 1905. So they were born in 1905. So when the Great Depression started in 1929, they were 24 years old each. And when World War II started in 1939, they would have been 34 years old. Now, I wanted to grow my hair long in 1972 when I was 11, and my grandfather said, "Oh, your hair's looking long, you've got to get it cut." And I said, "I don't want to get my hair cut." And my grandmother said, "Look, let him grow his hair. Let him grow his hair. If he wants to grow his hair long, let him grow his hair long." Now, in the Bible, in the New Testament, it says it's a disgrace for a man to have long hair. Well, why should we listen to the voice of a 2,000-year-old dead man? Was it the Apostle Paul that wrote that, it's a disgrace to have long hair? Jesus said nothing about the length of one's hair. He didn't say anything about the length of one's hair. It was the Apostle Paul who never ever met Jesus. Now, if I was born in Jehovah's Witness, I wouldn't be able to watch some of my favourite television shows. Now, in 1964, Bewitched came out. One of my favourite shows was Bewitched, and it went from 1964 to 1972. Now, I don't believe in demons or ghosts, but I wouldn't have been able to watch Bewitched. If I was a Jehovah's Witness child, I wouldn't be able to watch I Dream of Jeannie, which also came out in 1964 and went to about 1967 or something. I wouldn't have been able to watch The Addams Family, that also came out in 1964 and went to about 1966. If I was a Jehovah's Witness, I probably wouldn't be able to watch The Munsters, which also started in 1964 and went to about 1966. And in 1965, when I was 4, Lost in Space came out. And my grandparents let me watch anything on television. And I remember when I first watched Lost in Space in 1965, I was only 4, fell in love with the show. And in the early 70s, now Bewitched, Samantha in Bewitched, she was born in 1933. Now, my mother was born in 1932, and when I was a young boy, I wanted a mother just like Samantha in Bewitched, because Samantha in Bewitched was only 1 year younger than my mother, and my mother died when I was 1. And in the early 70s and all throughout the 70s, they played the reruns of Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Gilligan's Island, Get Smart, Beverly Hillbillies, Lost in Space, and I used to love all those shows. And if I was a Jehovah's Witness child, and I feel very sorry for them, you can't watch Bewitched, you can't watch I Dream of Jeannie, you can't watch The Munsters, I don't know about Lost in Space. And also when it comes to music, for instance, 1970, I was only 9, and I bought my very first record for $1.99, and the name of the record was Jesus Christ Superstar, who do they say that you really are? And I became a Christian in 1970 at the age of 9. And I remember when I was 9 years old, my 11-year-old sister and my 13-year-old brother, they said to me, they said, Justin, you know there's no such thing as God. You know God's not real. And I said, just like Santa Claus. And they said, yeah, there is no God. Just like Santa Claus isn't real, neither is God real. And my grandmother looked at my 65-year-old grandmother, looked at my 13-year-old brother and 11-year-old sister, and she gave them a dirty look, and she said, don't tell Justin that. Don't tell Justin that. And my grandmother was an agnostic atheist, and to her credit and my grandfather's credit, they were both agnostic atheists. They let me decide what I wanted to believe in. So when I got baptised into the Catholic Church when I was 13 years old. So my parents weren't religious. So I wasn't baptised. I got baptised into the Catholic Church when I was 13, and I chose their religion. And the reason why I chose the Catholic Church religion, because kids at school, I went to a public school, and they said, oh, your mother would be in heaven. Your mother, and I thought, oh, heaven, I want to get to heaven. You've got to believe in Jesus and you can go to heaven. So I became a Christian, and I said to my grandparents in 1970, when they were 65 years old, because they were born in 1905, I said, I want to become a Christian and I love Jesus. And at the school we had the Church of England or the Catholic Church. And my grandparents said, well, you can pick whatever religion you want, Justin. It's up to you. And I said, well, I don't like the Church of England because I don't like English. I hated spelling tests. I'd always fail at spelling tests. So I picked the Church of England and became I picked the Catholic Church because I like cats, Catholics. So even with music, I was allowed to watch I could listen to any music I wanted. I used to listen to Elton John. Now, I'm not gay, but it didn't bother me he was gay. And I used to listen to Alice Cooper, and he was supposed to be a Satanist. So as a kid, I had a lot of freedom, and I feel sorry for Jehovah's Witnesses who were born into the religion, because they wouldn't have been able to watch the shows I watched and listen to the music I watched and grow their hair long. And what's wrong with long hair? Because Jesus didn't say anything about long hair. It was the Apostle Paul, and the Apostle Paul never ever met Jesus. He had a hallucinogenic vision of Jesus. So I had a lot of freedom as a child, and I do feel sorry for Jehovah's Witnesses who were born into the religion. And the way I got sucked into the religion in 1988, because heaven and hell no longer made sense to me, what the Catholic Church taught, heaven and hell, but resurrection back on earth, as the Jehovah's Witnesses taught, made a lot more sense. So I'm very grateful I wasn't born into the Jehovah's Witnesses, because my parents may be shunning me now, and my parents are dead, and my grandparents are dead. They were both born in the 1900s, and my grandmother died in 1975 at the age of 70, and my grandfather died in 1981 at the age of 76. And they were agnostic atheists, mainly because the Great Depression and World War I and World War II, because both born in 1905. Thanks a lot. Bye then, running out of space. Bye then. Bye-bye.